Hello, it's Lauren, and in today's video I'll be showing you how I created this Slimline card using the Special Delivery 6x8 stamp set from Possum Stamps. So jumping right in, I first created a cardstock panel using craft cardstock in measured 8.5 by 3.5. And then using a brown ink from my stash, I stamped the Santa stamp in the kind of the center of my cardstock panel. And I also created a mask for a few of the stamps that I'm using. I think I created 4 masks. And to create the masks, I stamped the image onto Post-it notes that I have that are full sticky back. So I stamped the image and then fussy cut them out. So I placed the mask over top of my stamped Santa, and then I stamped my next image next to the Santa, and I chose the cute little bell stamp, and I kind of tilted that stamp. I wanted the stamps to go in a row along the center of the card, but I didn't want it to be straight, so I kind of tilted all the stamps, either tilted a little bit left, or as you can see here, I'm tilting the cute little elf hat to the right. And so I'm stamping them up, and then I place the mask over them to do the next one. And so as you see here, as I reveal them, it looks like the one that I just stamped is behind the previous one. And then the next one that I'm doing, I jump over to the other side of the Santa stamp, and I put down, or I ink up the, I think it's the poinsettia that I do next. So yes, the poinsettia, and this stamp set is full of cute stamps and all Christmas themed. So there's the some that are real cute, like the polar bear, and then you have the bells, which are real pretty, some ornaments. The poinsettia is really beautiful as well. So, and it also comes with a bunch of great sentiments too. So I ink up the polar bear and stamp him down. And so I have, so far I have, I think there's 6 of them that I've laid down. And then I end up doing 2 more. So they're kind of going off the edge of the cardstock. And here I'm choosing the ornaments as well. So once I have stamped out all of, I think I tried the candy cane, which I really wanted to use, but it goes in a kind of a portrait direction, and I thought here I could use one that was more in a landscape direction. So I put the candy cane back, and I decide to go with the ornaments. So you'll see me stamp out the ornaments, and then I go to the other end, the opposite end, and I stamp one more on that end as well. And then once I have stamped all of the images onto the cardstock panel, I go ahead and I color them up off screen using my colored pencils. And I really like the look of colored pencils on cardstock. I think it gives it kind of an old-fashioned or kind of a vintagey feel, which is kind of cozy and warm. So I ended up using the ornaments on this end as well. And then after I've stamped up all my images and colored up all my images using my colored pencils, I trim the whole panel down using, and you'll see the reveal there. So I have a really cute line of awesome looking Christmas stamps, and you'll see them there. Oh yes, I forgot. I also splattered some white acrylic paint over top. And I only had 5 masks, so with the ends, I just covered them up with some paper. And what I did here was I put a little bit of titanium white acrylic paint, and I watered it down a little bit with some water, and then I just used a regular paintbrush, and I'm sorry, we have a thunderstorm in the background. And I used my paintbrush to create splatters over top of the whole panel that I had. I think I started to tell you I trimmed that panel down using a mini or a slimline sized stitch die from my stash. And then you'll see me just kind of using my finger to create splatters, and you can you know, create splatters. There's a bunch of different ways to create splatters on your cards. You can, you know, use your brush like this, or you can hit 2 brushes together to create splatters, or I just use my finger. I don't mind getting messy. I use my fingers a lot, and usually they have ink on them from something that I've been doing. So, but just do it however you like to create your splatters. And then I remove all my masks here, and once the acrylic paint has dried, which doesn't take very long to dry it, you can also use a heat gun to dry it as well. I use the same brown ink to stamp my sentiment, which is the, I think, happiest of holidays. I think that one is. So I stamp it on there and just making sure I'm getting it nice and straight. I'm securing down my panel, and then I'm using the same brown ink that I used on the stamped images, and I stamped the happiest of holidays sentiment on there. And then what I end up doing after that is I just adhere that whole panel onto the cardstock, or the card base, which is a slimline card base. And again, the slimline card measurement is 8.5 by 3.5. And you can see on the back, I tested out my pencils, my colored pencils on cardstock. Because I like to test it on the back of the cardstock that I'm using, just because each color or each cardstock will change the color. So the craft cardstock, of course, the colored pencils aren't going to look the same on craft cardstock as they do on white cardstock, or, you know, a gray cardstock, or whatever cardstock color I'm choosing. So I always have a tendency to just try out my color on whatever kind of cardstock I'm using, just so I can make sure it's the exact shade that I like. And then I just secure it down, and that completes this fun little card that I will be sending off to my nieces this holiday. So thanks a lot for visiting, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.